Good morning, folks. Yes, it's Friday again. It is coffee time alive. I hope you are joining me with your cuppa in hand. I have got a really exciting guest today. I am so delighted that she was able to come and speak to me this morning. It is Dr. Cecilia Serban. Hi, Cecilia. How are you this morning?
Hi, Vicky. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I love Friday mornings. It's one of my favorite mornings of the week because I get to meet some of my Pilates clients, not once, but twice at different times of the morning. So it's a fun morning for me. I'm always in a really, really good mood. So you are a specialist in heart health, among other things. So please do tell our lovely Lifestyle is Health listeners and watchers just what it is that you do and how you now help people to feel good, healthy in themselves. The floor is yours.
Yeah, not a big question at all.
No.
So yes, I am a health coach and I help women keep their hearts healthy to prevent heart disease.
Fantastic.
And you may think women and heart disease. Not really. It's a men's disease. Well, not so. As we spoke before, and I told you, twice more women die of a heart attack than of breast cancer every year in England.
Wow.
So
just hold that statistic for 1 second, because that's something that I really want the listeners and watchers to take on board, because a lot of them know my story and they know that I have had a heart attack and obviously survived it. But twice as many women as men. I think for a lot of people listening, that's a real shocker, because there is still a belief that it's mainly men, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not twice as many women than men. Twice as many women die of heart attack than breast cancer.
Right.
So to compare those two, because we think about cancer and we think about breast cancer for women, but we don't really think about heart.
It's so true. And breast cancer, I think cancer for women has such a big fear factor. And we do know that the statistics for that are actually absolutely huge. But I had no clue that the comparison was such a big difference. And tell me if I'm correct, that most women don't necessarily know they've got heart problems until it's too late. They've died of a heart attack. Is that still the truth?
That's because of this misconception that we believe it's a men's disease. So we as women don't actually think about the risk factors. And as you know, the risk factors are someone in your family, parents or siblings who had heart disease or have heart disease.
Yeah.
And then all the lifestyle risks, excess weight, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Those are all the risks that we have as well as men.
Right.
So
this is the key thing that you help people with, isn't it? Is to understand that just because it is in the family, it doesn't mean that you are going to have a heart attack or have issues associated with, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do. So when people come to you for help, do they already have an issue like high blood pressure, or they've been told that perhaps they're heading and they've got high cholesterol? And what do you sort of recommend that they do as the first steps?
So yes, people come either because they've been already diagnosed with one of those risk factors, or because they have the genetic risk and they want to avoid that. So as you know, the big thing that we all can do is look at our nutrition.
Yeah.
Because what we eat can make us healthy or can make us sick.
Correct.
So we look at that and we bring in healthy foods.
Cool.
Fresh, whole foods that are full of nutrition, full of vitamins, full of antioxidants, full of all those goodness. So we can slowly eliminate the cholesterol foods, the processed foods, the sugar foods, all those bad things that we get so attached to.
We do, and as many people know, I mean, I've talked about this, they are absolutely chemically engineered, those processed prepackaged foods, to have you keep going back for more. And it is because they contain the wrong types of fats for us, and sugar and sweeteners, all of which hit our dopamine reward system. But we just we don't necessarily realize, because we don't always have symptoms, do we? That they're affecting our heart health. Sometimes they'll affect our weight, but not always. But they can be affecting our heart health, particularly the arteries in the heart, and our cholesterol levels are a clue. But also things like triglycerides are also a good indicator if that's high. And I think the important thing for people to know, and I'm sure that you agree with this, is that we need to be going to get our health checked out to know what is going on a regular basis, don't we?
Yes, because high cholesterol doesn't give you symptoms.
No.
High blood pressure doesn't give you symptoms. We think about high blood pressure and we think about headaches and dizziness and bleeding and all sorts of things. But when those things happen, you need to go to A&E. Those are like the extremes when you're in a crisis. So when you have high blood pressure, higher than normal, it doesn't give you any symptoms. Yeah. So you can live with it. It does the damage, but it doesn't really give you a pain or a discomfort to prompt you to go to your doctor. So yes, having regular checks is really important.
The other thing that actually will affect that is the stress that we're under. It's massive, isn't it? And again, I know stress is kind of, we're almost dismissing the word stress now because we talk about it so kind of glibly, but it is such an important part of the equation when it comes to heart health, because that was definitely the thing that tipped me over the edge, with a number of other factors, but that was the one that absolutely guaranteed that I had the heart attack when I did. And stress, like high blood pressure, we don't necessarily know that we've got it and that we're having problems with it, do we? So is that something that you work with your clients on managing?
Yes. So besides nutrition, I support my clients to bring some movement into their lives, because we know it's really important. And we know we're busy, we know we don't have time, and we don't want to change our whole world. Mm-hmm. So I always try to fit somehow a little bit of movement, and then stress. And as you say, we don't quite recognize it because it's not the acute stress, the anxiety and the panic attack that leads to heart disease. Is the chronic stress, that background noise that we've been used to because of whatever, many reasons, pandemic, news, family, work, not work, whatever it is, that background noise, that's what leads to heart disease. And
Absolutely.
We don't notice it because we get used to it so much, and it creeps, and we don't see when it just goes above that limit.
So for those people who are listening, watching, who don't actually understand the difference between acute stress and chronic stress, do you want to just give a brief explanation of that, just so that people are clear what you mean?
So acute stress, imagine something acute means it's happening now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's something, you get a letter from somebody and you get that anxiety with that is acute stress. You're in traffic and some nice guy or gal cuts in front of you and you get a little bit revved up. That is and it goes away.
Yeah. No, so it's like that's what I class as instant stress.
Yes. Yeah. And it goes away. The chronic stress is that nagging in the back of the mind. Oh, I need to find a job. Oh, coronavirus. Oh, my kids, something, oh, my relationship is not going that well. And that nagging thought in your brain that keeps you up in the night.
Right. And that's
many nights in a row.
I think so many of our listeners will be able to identify with, and not necessarily connect that with causing problems with our heart. Because we think of stress maybe on a mental health kind of a level, and affecting us that way. And some of the clients that I work with, they can manage or deal with their stress by drinking too much or eating food. But it's that kind of association that we want to get people to really be aware of, isn't it? That it's having an effect on your heart function.
But think what, like your clients, what you do when you're overstressed, you eat the wrong foods.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, the dopamine, it makes you feel better. It makes you feel better for 5 minutes, but it does give you that relief.
Yeah,
you maybe feel a bit depressed and you don't feel like going for a walk or having a conversation with somebody. So you hide under the sheets and you watch Netflix. Well, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe you turn to drinking, you know, because again, it gives you that immediate relief. Maybe you turn to smoking because it gives you that immediate relief. All those habits that we develop because of the chronic stress are the things that impact on our health.
And this is the stuff that I think we kind of know, but we need to be reminded that it's not just the outside stuff. Maybe your hair or your nails or the stuff that you can see or your weight. It's happening internally, and because we can't see it does not mean that it's not happening, and because we can't feel it does not mean that it's not happening. So through the pandemic, then because you're not working for the NHS full time anymore, are you? But you did help out during the pandemic, and I would imagine that the amount of stress that the nursing staff and the doctors and the surgeons were going under was crazy, but also the sort of cases that you were seeing. So I'm interested to know how that impacted you on a managing it yourself point of view.
Well, it was different, you know. I've never done a pandemic before.
No, well, no one has.
So, I mean, I've seen lots of things and I've done lots of crazy things. As a medical doctor, I work in anesthetics and intensive care, so I've seen things. And this was different. You know, in my job, you always have to pay attention to everything. You're surrounded by monitors. You're surrounded by patients either being under surgery and anesthetic or patients being critically ill. So you always watch. You watch the patient, you watch the monitor, you communicate with surgeons, you communicate with nurses, with your colleagues. You always continuously, yes. I remember, I give you an example, in the night when you're really tired and you're anesthetized for a surgery, for example, I used to say in my head, patient, surgeon, monitor, patient. To remind myself at 3 a.m. to watch patient. What are they doing there? Monitor. So, because you're tired. So you do this on a regular basis. Now imagine that you are in PPE. Yeah, you are sweating. Yeah. You have maybe a headache because it gives the bloody thing gives you a headache.
Absolutely.
And you're thirsty. You want to scratch your nose and you can't. Yes, you move like you're on the moon because you have all this equipment on. In the same time, my brain would go, is the mask fitting well? Can I breathe properly, or I leak?
Oh, wow.
Leak? Not that I can touch it. The best I could do was to get out and undress and dress again. But you think about those things.
Yeah.
And then monitor, patient, nurse, surgeon, do it all of that again, all over again and again and again. It's been different. It's been a different level of stress. But hey, we've all done it.
So what do you do for yourself then that helps you to manage it? Because you have, the reason that you kind of got into this, because you've got personal experience of heart issues. And like many of us who go into the world of coaching, is because we've had experience of these things, and looking after ourselves is so crucial because we have to walk the talk, don't we? So what do you do to actually help with that kind of stress?
So for the stress, I love to get out and walk. Nice. It helps me so much to just, and I was saying the other day, you know, to get me walking and out, I I look at people's gardens to come up with idea for our own little garden. Because you
Love
can
it.
do this in the UK. The fences are so low, you can just look and see what other people are doing and what plants they've got.
Like it.
I like to go out in nature. I missed that last year. To go out and walk in a forest or go out and be somewhere outside the city. I live in London.
Yeah.
So this weekend I'm going to Richmond Park tomorrow.
Fantastic. Oh, that's going to be amazing. So, and nature has just got this energy. It's about calm. There's so much to connect to, isn't there? And be mindful. You can look at the trees, the grass, as you say, the flowers, other people's gardens. So even if you are surrounded by houses, there are still things that you can really focus on. And you mentioned there that you're going to Richmond Park. Fantastic. But I just want to, because obviously I want people who are listening to this, and if you are watching, say hi to us, folks. If you are catching us on replay, please do put #replay, and any questions that you have, we will check and come back and answer them. But your accent, I absolutely adore it. So if people are wondering, where are you from, just so that they know for sure, just let them know where you're actually from, because you're not from the UK, though you've been here quite a while, haven't you?
No, I'm from Romania. I've been here for 11, 12 years now.
Excellent. And so Richmond Park, one of the amazing parks that we do have access to in London. So are you going with friends, with family, or are you just taking yourself off for a nice day out?
I'm going with my partner and her sister and brother-in-law.
Fantastic.
So family.
Yeah, brilliant. And connect. This is the other thing that's so important when it comes to heart health, isn't it? Is that it's so important to connect with family, especially if your family does have heart disease within it. You know, talking about it is really, really important, and looking out for each other. So instead of encouraging each other to maybe drink a bit too much and eat a bit too much, maybe let's start saying, well, hey, you guys, you know what? We all know it's in our genes. Let's together as a family decide that maybe we're going to do things like go for a walk instead of sit in the cinema and stuff our faces with nachos and popcorn to entertain ourselves. Anything that you are doing at the moment, because I think you've got a workshop coming up, or you've got something happening really, really soon. Would you like to tell our people what's going on for you?
Yes, I do. I just put together a workshop. You know what? I've been thinking, and the truth is that we all know what we have to do. You know, we all do. And we do tell ourselves like, oh, I should be going for a walk instead of watching Netflix, or I'm eating too much sugar, I should be doing that or the other. But we don't always take action. Right. We're full of information, we know, but we don't. So sometimes there is something there that keeps us a little bit stuck and we can't put our finger on. So I am doing a workshop. It's an hour workshop where I want to help people get through 4 areas of well-being: nutrition, movement, stress, and sleep, and see where they are, what they're doing good at the moment, and how they can take it one step further to improve on that so they can reach their health goals. And I say slow and steady wins the race.
Always.
Because we've done crazy diets and we've done overnight changes and they don't last.
Yeah.
So taking one step at a time, that's the way to go.
Absolutely is. And this is why you and I get on, because we're both on the same page. We know that if we make change simple and straightforward, we're much more likely to keep going at it. Whereas if we make it this crazy big goal that we've got to do by a set time, the stress of doing that is actually going to stop us from getting to where we want to be. So how do people find out about the masterclass, and how do they connect with you? Where are you hanging out in the world of social media, Cecilia?
I'm hanging out mostly on LinkedIn, but I'm also hanging out on Facebook.
Good stuff.
And I will share the link with you for the registration, and obviously it will be on LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
That's fantastic. So if you do want to connect personally with Dr. Cecilia, guys, please do that. I will be putting the links above this video, and obviously that link as well to register for the masterclass workshop. So all I want to say is thank you so much for spending some time with me for a virtual coffee and a chat. It's been a joy. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. And once again, look after your heart, folks. Are there any last words that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Thank you so much for inviting me. It has been a pleasure, always. Yes, I would like you guys to have that awareness, about your heart health. You might not have anyone in your family with heart disease. You might not have high cholesterol or high blood pressure, but have that awareness that a healthy lifestyle, and I know it's a big word. When you hear lifestyle, it's huge. Healthy eating, a bit of movement, managing your stress, sleeping well can keep that heart healthy. And you want to do it for your family and for your kids.
Yeah, and we only have one heart, folks, right? We can't replace it. So it makes sense to look after it. Thank you so much. Guys who are watching, thank you for joining us. And as I say, if you are watching on replay, please do put #replay, leave some comments, leave some questions. Have a wonderful weekend, folks, and a lovely, lovely next week where I will be joined by another amazing guest. Who is it going to be? Have to tune in and find out. See you then. Bye.
Bye.